Hi guys, how are you? Today I'm going to do my video on no justice, no peace. Okay, there has been so much going on. I know I've missed out on a lot of videos. I have sort of disappeared from the media lately, as far as in YouTube that is, and doing my normal politic videos. I apologize for that. I just been at awe. There's so much been going on. I have been following the CNN news, which is one of my favorite stations to follow. I've also been watching SBC news as well, and other political news, political.com, following that as well. I just been, researching a lot of information and watching the news lately and finding out what's going on in the world around us, just as you guys have been. And we all are very first of all, my prayers are out to George Floyd's family, first of all, who has recently, of course, you all know, has been killed by police. And that's why I decided to do this video, because I was like, you know what, it's been a while since I've done a YouTube video. I've had issues with my computer, so I apologize for not being on air. Until I get my computer straightened out, I might be doing this from the cell phone for a minute, so bear with me. But this video is about no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. This is a statement of how many Americans feel right now, you guys, including myself, especially African Americans right now. Many African Americans are very angry, and we're very hurt, and we will never understand why in the hell black people such as George Floyd, he died of a senseless murder by the hands of police. In a very racist act, in which causes, the death of a lot of many other African Americans who, become victims of racist cops on an everyday basis. Okay. Now, I don't care who is saying this killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis was not a racist act, because it was definitely a racist act. This police officer stood there, you guys. I know you guys already seen the video, with his knee on this man's back for at least 8 to 9 minutes. And I think I read a statement that they said 8 minutes. Okay, can you imagine that? He's literally, they showed in the video, he's literally kneeling down with his knee on George Floyd's back, while this man is literally pleading and gasping for him to stop, telling him that he doesn't want to die, that he cannot breathe, that he, calling out for his mother, his dead mother. Come on. Really? But that's what this officer was doing, while other racist cops who were also white stood there and did absolutely nothing, said nothing, didn't care, didn't have a care in the world. They were just like, oh well, this is our fellow cop, so, even if he's wrong, we're with him, we're all the way. That's just pretty much how they acted, okay, in my opinion. I would say that this is unbelievable. But it really is not, if you think about it. It's instead very typical, instead of unbelievable. I wanted to know how many people have been killed by the hands of the police when I was watching this video. I wanted to know. So I went on WashingtonPost.com and I looked up the database, and it showed that over 1,000, actually 1,004 people have been shot and killed by the hands of the police since 2019. Now thinking about it, you guys, 1,004 people have been shot and murdered and killed, or some kind of way, if not shot, murdered, maybe strangled, beaten, whatever, by the hands of the police. Okay. Now this data didn't really state like if it was 900 African Americans or whatever, but I believe that probably 80% of these people, if not 90, were probably African Americans or some kind of minorities, Hispanics or something like that. But more likely, I think that a lot of them were African Americans, okay? Because we've seen it and we've heard it over and over and over again, okay? Amongst the many of these are black people, I'm sure, who are constantly shot by the police. This is ridiculous, you guys. There are more black people than any other race in the United States of America that are being killed by the hands of the police. These same police are supposed to have our back. They're supposed to be protecting the law, but they're not protecting the law. They're racist cops. A lot of them are white racist cops that can't stand African American people, especially African American men. They have fear of a big black African American man, or skinny African American man, or whatever, short. They don't care. It's just a fear of the African American male. And they're cowards to me. To go and do, I mean, that cop that did that was a coward. I don't care what anybody say or think. In my opinion, he was a coward. He had his knee on the back of a man that was not forcefully fighting the cop. He was not resisting. He was begging for his life and pleading with the cop, please, I can't breathe. That's what he was saying, okay? Now, you know, in 2012, we saw, you know, incidents such as this, you know, prime example with Trayvon Martin when he was killed. Remember him? Young teenage boy. Remember, he looked suspicious, as they always say, by George Zimmerman. Okay? And George Zimmerman, I'm sorry, you know, saw him and just assumed that he was, you know, some criminal. Started chasing him, want to play cop, and then wanted to try to see if he can go ahead and shoot an African American boy. And that's what he did. He killed him. He seen him with a hooded sweater, and Trayvon Martin pretty much died for wearing a hooded sweater, you know, and for being black. That's what kind of world we live in, that you cannot walk around or run around in a hooded sweater. You can't be African American, period, in this country without them practicing racial acts towards you. Okay, that's what has been going on for decades now in this country. Okay. Now in 2014, I'm gonna, you know, just think back on that. You guys remember Eric Gardner, and he was killed by officers as well. You know, then we had 2014 Michael Brown. He was a black man that, you know, in the case of Ferguson, and he was shot by the Ferguson police. He was murdered by them. And all he was doing, you guys, was trying to cross the street, for God's sakes. You can't be a black man and you can't cross the street. Because if you try to cross the street, in their minds, you are suspicious. If you run across the street, you're really suspicious. You must have stole something or killed somebody. So we must go get him and kill him. That's pretty much what statement that these cops are sending when they go kill an innocent man such as Michael Brown in the Ferguson case. Okay. This also stirred up, you know, a very strong group, you know, that is stirred up, which were called the Black Lives Matter. And they have been a very strong activist group for a while now that's fighting against police brutality and making people aware that black lives do matter, that you're not going to continue to put your foot on our back and kill us, that it's not okay to look at a black person and think that every black person is suspicious and that you must go and attack them or murder them and get away with murder. So that's why Black Lives Matter, in case people don't understand the whole idea of why Black Lives, you know, formed this group called Black Lives Matter. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to bring a statement and saying that police should not go around just killing people just because they think they have the power to do so. Now, moving on, remember in 2015, we had Sandra Bland, and she was told to put her cigarette out. Remember, she was an activist, okay? And I really believe in this case that they were really after her. They knew or had found out who she was, if they didn't already know who she was. And they really pretty much just racially, you know, profiled her and was just like, you know what, this is a black activist and we're going to go after her. And that's exactly what they did. These police officers showed nothing but racism. I mean, you could clearly see in that video. I remember watching that video of Sandra Bland, and I remember watching it with my husband. And we were looking like, wow, this officer was really trying to stir up trouble. He really was trying to make her mad. She still did not act in a way where she was violent at all. She was still calm. She just told him that I'm not putting my cigarette out. No, because I didn't do anything. He got mad, which is, you know, what they usually do when their power is, you know, questioned as an officer. So his power was questioned as an officer. So it messed up his male officer ego. And so he got upset because he felt like this black lady shouldn't be telling me what she's not going to do. And so he got angry. That's pretty much what he did in that video. And it showed. And what he did was just stupid. He went off on her. You know, you can clearly hear her, you know, screaming for help when he was doing something to her in the video, which the video didn't show everything, but we can clearly hear that he was hurting her physically, you know, but yet nothing was done about what he did to her. Matter of fact, she went to the jail, called out to her family members, was telling them she was disturbed about what was going on. And then, you know, shortly after that, they found out that she was dead in her cell. Talking about that, you know, she had killed herself. But even her family members said that she was never depressed. She was a happy-going person. She was an activist. So why in the world would she kill herself? That was just a cover-up to me. Just like what a lot of cover-ups that these cops do. You know, that's what they do. They cover up their mess. They do wrong. They murder people. And they cover it up. And they get away with murder. But we can't do it, but they can do it because they wear that badge and that uniform, so they think, you know. But that's what's going on, you know. And so, you know, when she didn't put her cigarette out of the, you know, and he got furious. And that's, like I said, you know, they end up, to me, I feel they end up murdering her. This has been one incident, you guys, after another. If you look at it, black people, we're tired, okay? You know, I'm an African-American woman, and I have an African-American husband and African-American children, okay? And my brother, he's married to a white woman, you know? And you know what? We're just tired, though. You know what I'm saying? Even though, you know, we have mixture in our family right now because my brother is married to a white woman, and I have a mixed nephew. But even then, I mean, I just feel like that African Americans, we are tired of being racially profiled. I remember my mom was telling me that my brother went somewhere in Georgia. I think it was Douglasville, Georgia, yeah. And she said when he went down to Douglasville, Georgia, it felt like the 40s and 50s. He was called every nigger, you know, every black degrading name that he could possibly think of by white people. And it ran him out of Douglasville, Georgia, all because he was with a white woman, that he's married to a white woman. My brother is still married to a white woman. And so, but this is what we deal with every day. This is the 21st century, you guys. We should not be dealing with racism in the 21st century. We've already dealt with our ancestors and slavery and, you know, racial slurs and dogs being sicked on our ancestors and on loved ones and on family members dying in the hands of white people. This country was built on racism, and it's constantly just going on every day, even in the 21st century, which is sad. It's sad and it's pathetic is what it is, because you would think that we are far from racism right now, but we're not. You know, we're still got a long way to go before we are ever, if we are ever accepted in this country. I don't even know if we black people are going to ever be accepted, okay? But, you know, I had to do this video because I refuse to sugarcoat this. African Americans, like I said, are tired of it. We're just tired of the racism. Black people are tired of racial injustice in this country. I feel that for those of you who don't understand why the protests are so violent in the United States, because the people feel that they want to get their voices heard. We're tired of being quiet. We're not going to walk around sing Kumbaya. We're not going to walk around with candles in our head and crying and that's it, and being quiet and sitting down while these cops are getting away with murder. We're not going to do that. I'm not condoning for people to be violent, but I'm just going to say that if it takes for African Americans to get violent and to maybe bust some windows, you know, in or kick down some doors or you know, raid the police cars or whatever, then maybe that's what it takes. I'm not saying they should do that, but I just feel like that I understand. That's what I'm saying. I'm not condoning violence. Okay, first of all. But I am stating that if that is what African American people feel, that's the only way they can get their voice heard is by being violent, then I understand why they would kick in doors. I understand why they would write graffiti all over the CNN building right down here in Georgia. Okay, I understand why, you know, a lot of these things are happening in other states like Minnesota. Their protests went crazy. They was burning buildings up and burning cars on fire, police cars on fire, kicking in doors, kicking in windows, screaming, trying to get their voice heard. The same thing in Georgia was happening. The same in Chicago. The same in California. I understand, okay? I understand. And that's what I'm trying to tell you in this video, if you're watching, okay? It might be a little bit longer than my normal videos. Just give me a few more minutes and I'm almost finished. But I understand. And what I'm trying to get my point across is to you white people, you need to understand, and even people that are not white that may not understand, this is why African Americans are so angry. Because we are tired of the constant, day after day, month after month, year after year, you know what I'm saying, of the constant racism in our country. Okay? We are being systematically held down already. We already don't have, most of us don't have jobs, and then we do get a job, we have to climb harder than the other to get a position in the job because we're black. We always got to climb harder in this society to get to where we're going to get to because we're African American. You guys don't know that are out there that are not black. You can't tell us how to feel or how to act, and you can't tell us what we're going through because you're not black. You're not in this skin to let us know what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Until you are black is when you will understand what an African American woman or an African American male goes through in this society. If you are not black, don't come talk to me about how you understand what we are saying, because you don't. You maybe get it a little bit, some of you that are with us on it, but you will never truly understand what we are going through unless you're African American and have to deal with what we go through on a constant basis. Okay? You know, I'm not gonna be much longer. I'm almost done, but this is what's going on. You know, someone's loved one is gone now. You know, his loved one is gone. He will never be able to bring back his loved one. Okay? They will never see him again. The police, you know, they always excuse all of this. You know, they think that everybody is hostile. They think that everybody is, you know, they always use the word, you know, statement, I have to fear for my life. That's what police say. I feared for my life. I was scared, you know, which is to me a full of crap. You know, the police, they have body cameras that clearly shows that, you know, George Floyd was not a threat. Okay? It clearly shows that the case with him, it was not a threat. Okay? Watch the video. Many others that watch the video can also say the same and prove this, okay, that he was no threat at all to these police, and that man did not deserve to die. And that's why black people are going corrupt in these states, because they want to show them that they're angry. You know, I watched on CNN tonight about George Floyd, and his brother was just in tears, and he had me in tears because his brother died a senseless murder. He will never ever be able to get his brother back again. He will never be able to watch TV with his brother, watch the game. He will never be able to play ball with his brother or whatever they like to do for fun. He would never have a conversation with his brother to tell him how much he loved him because some cop that was racist decide he want to wear his badge and use it inappropriately and put his knee on his back. As if they don't already put their knees on that black man's back already. But he wants to show them that, look, this is what we do to black men. We put our knee on their back so they cannot survive in this world. That's just how I feel that he was saying. He was showing a statement to me. The officer was clearly stating to him, this is what we do to the black man. We put our knee on his back so he cannot get up and do anything for himself. And we'll knock him down and keep him down. And that's where we want him, down. That's just clearly what I felt. And he murdered the man. And he knew exactly what he was doing. And he didn't care. He didn't care how much George Floyd pleaded for help. He wanted to kill him. And that's what the officer did. Okay? So if you wonder why states are being destroyed from angry protesters breaking into buildings, destroying police cars, that is why. I cannot stress that enough. That is why, okay? Black people have had enough. Enough is enough. It's time for the foolishness to stop. And we have a President Trump that's in office. If you're watching out there and you see all the commotion that's going on, I wish that he would stand up and say something that's going to make sense. Because right now, I don't think anything that Trump is saying is going to help this world right now. But maybe he can say something that's going to help What? I don't know. But before I go, I want to leave this question with you all. Do you think, okay, if George Floyd was white and a black officer had his knee on his neck, do you think the other officers standing around would allow him to keep his knee on his neck? That is my question to leave you guys. Leave me a comment. I know what I think, you know. I want to know what you think about all this. I want to hear what you think. And please watch me again. I will be dropping a new video next week. So, see you next time. Goodbye.